very excited to be hosting this webinar. We hope that you are all very healthy and safely at home. And let's get into it. My name is Triin. I am the head of investor relations at EstateGuru. Today I will have with me discussing the ongoing topics Marek Pärtel, who is the CEO and co-founder of the company. Also Mihkel Stamm, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and Kaspar Kaljuvee, who is our Chief Risk Officer. So thank you to everybody who has already managed to send us their questions. We have received quite a lot of them, and we will definitely try to go through all of them during this limited time that we have today. But also, if you get any additional questions during the webinar itself, then there are two options to present them. First of all, feel free to write them in this Q&A section at Zoom, or the other option is to go to slido.com and use the reference EstateGuru Q&A, and we will try to grab as much questions from both of these sources. But without further ado, let's continue with the topics. First of all, I would give the word to the other attendees. Tell us with a few sentences what it is that you do in EstateGuru and where we are today. Marek, go ahead.
So hello from my side also. I'm very happy to see you here and host to have this seminar. We're actually doing it first time, this kind of format, and hopefully you're going to be satisfied that you spent your time with us. So maybe shortly about EstateGuru, as maybe some of you don't know a lot about EstateGuru, and just considering if you should start investing with us. So the company was founded about 6 years ago, and since then we have been growing about 2 times a year on average. And the main business idea from the start was to offer our investors opportunity to invest into property-backed loans, and also for entrepreneurs to be able to get access to fast and flexible property finance. And so since 2014, we have now funded more than 200 million of loans, and have more than 47,000 of investors of different profile. And there is a majority of investors coming from the bigger countries of Germany and Estonia, Lithuania, but also other European countries are growing very, very fast. So why EstateGuru is different from other platforms is that we always take security or property to guarantee these loans to our investors. So we are holding most of the cases first-rank mortgages, and so far we have opened offices in 4 countries: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland. And on top of that, we have also financed the first deals in Germany, Spain, and Portugal. And we are planning to sustain this growth, what we have achieved so far. And that's why we are also introducing our equity crowdfunding campaign that's going to be live on Monday. And we are going to offer opportunity to all of our investors to participate there. And in this seminar, we are giving more information about that campaign and why we're doing it. And once again, thanks a lot for joining us. And that's shortly from my side.
Perfect. Mihkel, you can continue.
Hello, everybody, from my side as well. So I'm Mihkel, CEO at EstateGuru. So what I do is basically take care of the day-to-day operations here at EstateGuru, and also actually looking over the product development. So today I will be covering more about how it's going our existing markets, and what exciting we are thinking in sense of product development. So, but let's see the questions, and I will be answering them more detailed later on.
Kaspar, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Kaspar. the Chief Risk Officer in EstateGuru. The risk team consists of 5 people with the banking, property investments, and debt collection background. The credit decisions are made centrally in the headquarters. Also, the debt collection is managed from the headquarters with local debt collection partners in every country. And I will be answering the questions regarding risks today.
Great. Thank you for the very brief overview, and let's jump straight away into the main topics that we have today. First of which is something that we cannot not cover in this webinar, and that is the current turbulent times in economics and the COVID-19 situation. So very first question is that how has EstateGuru adjusted to the market situation, both operationally and financially? Mihkel.
Okay, thank you. So even though the first quarter was really good for EstateGuru, we already saw in the beginning of March and that there will be coming some changes. So we started to adjust quickly. So first of all, of course, like probably everyone now, we moved to the working from office to the home office. So this has gone very smoothly at the moment. So all our people are already working in home offices. But parallel, what we have done also, we have made adjustments to our financials. So I can say that we have reduced our costs more than 30%. Mainly what it means is we have been postponing some of the investments, for example, in IT or expansion to the new countries. Expanding the new countries is quite resource heavy in this sense. So, but we have been looking all the other areas as well where we could have made adjustments. So I'm happy to say at the moment that the EstateGuru is in solid grounds. So we have been adjusting to the new situation and still able to go break even as a company in financial wise. But what is also important to bring out is that the changes what we've done have enabled us to keep our employees fully. So we really believe that if things start to normalize, then we are really ready to go and then start taking the market with these people and employees what we have today. So yeah, and of course, EstateGuru started as a digital company, so most of our processes are already digital, and this is also benefiting our day-to-day operations. So I don't know, somebody wants to add something.
Perhaps within the same topic, let's move a bit towards the credit risk side. What changes have been made to credit risk assessment of EstateGuru, and do we see an increasing number of debts and defaults? Kaspar.
Yes, so we have made some changes to the policies. So we concentrate more on metropolitan and growth areas. We have excluded the rural areas or these like secondary cities. We concentrate on strong borrowers and strong collaterals, meaning that mostly we concentrate on residential real estate and commercial real estate with inside cities or with good quality new commercial real estate. And yes, also we in every case we make a stress test to see how much of buffer do we have, and then basically we have reduced in many cases LTVs. We only finance now of basically first rank mortgages, and we have excluded a lot of land development projects, meaning that big land developments and similar projects are excluded. That doesn't mean that we don't finance some city center land plots, or but yes, so some changes we have made. Regarding the performance, I can share my screen to show the latest statistics. So this is the portfolio statistics. So we see here that basically the latent defaulted loan rates have remained stable. So I think that, but it's too early to tell today that how much we will be influenced and how much our portfolio statistics will be influenced by the current situation. What we see definitely is a lot of more prolongations because different transactions that have been planned, refinancing, sales transactions have been postponed. So in that sense, everybody waits what happens and how are the things evolving. But also what we see is that still transactions every week are made, money is from some projects coming back, and developers are selling their apartments. So I would say that things are right now under control, and it's a little bit too early to tell what the future will bring.
We have a very concrete question in regarding the default rate of the company.
Default rate is right now it's 5.8%. So the default rate has been actually been lowering with the last weeks and months. We have recovered some of the loans. So our aim with the management, we have set a target of 5% from the outstanding portfolio defaulted loans. As we are expecting many recoveries to be made in next weeks and months, we could even see that the default rate will decrease, but it's too early to tell how much it will increase. It will definitely at some point increase, but it also will definitely remain below 10%.
Great. And perhaps the overall topic of risk is adequate to be continued. Many questions about the enforcement process itself. Please explain how the process goes. What happens if a loan falls into quite a long delay? And how does the court enforcement process work as itself?
Yes, so it's a really broad subject that, and it's, as we have mortgages on every property, the local law in every country sets the rules how are being the loans and the properties enforced. But to give a quick overall view, we have if the loan has been 45 days late, we can initiate the enforcement process. Of course, we have the in-house debt collection. So in every case, we will try to solve the best way and find out the exit and restructuring plan for the loan. So if we see that there is the borrower is cooperating us, and we have a clear belief that there is a possibility to sell the loan, sell the property with cooperation with the borrower, meaning that we can recover the loan faster and with a higher result than through the legal system, then we will try to find a way with the borrower. And if we see that this we don't have any possibilities or options then to take it the legal way, then we will, the local security agent that we have will start the enforcement process, meaning that the bailiff will start the auction. This procedure has a lot of like formalities which we have to consider time-wise, price-wise, cost-wise. Of course, we have many other options or possibilities as well. If the borrower is in bankruptcy, it's a little bit different case. If the borrower has initiated legal protection plan and the legal protection administrator will take over, then it's a little bit different process. So there are a lot of nuances and details with every case. Yeah.
But let's say that there are many parties to the process itself. Who actually makes the decisions regarding the next strategical steps in the sales process? For example, regarding the price of the next auction round. Will it be the bailiff agent, the security agent, the EstateGuru along with its investors? Speak about that a bit.
Yeah, so in 99% of the cases, it's us. It's usually the decisions are made by the biggest creditor. So it means us. If there are any other creditors, let's say there are different mortgages on the property and different rank mortgages, then there could be a saying right from the other parties. Also, if there is a bankruptcy situation or process or legal protection process, then also the other parties or other creditors are have the right to say, but in the big part, usually the biggest creditor gets to decide the final decision.
We received an additional question to elaborate a bit more what we consider to be a default loan, and also what has been the principal loss or how much of investors' capital has been lost on the platform.
So default loan in our system means that we see that there is no other option to solve the loan or the case than to start the official process of auction, meaning that if we see that there are any, like I said, any other options, we usually try these before, because these are always more faster and they are more cost effective, meaning that if we have the bailiff, the security agent, the bankruptcy or legal protection manager, with all these processes, additional costs come into play, and these costs are taken from firstly from the sale amount of the property. So in every case, we have to decide which is the best way to pursue. And then if we see that the only way to pursue is through the official legal auction or the enforcement process, then we give the loan to our security agent who starts the process, and then we will mark the loan as defaulted.
Okay.
Maybe
even though, yes, Marek, go ahead.
I would maybe add a little bit that historically we have recovered already more than 40% of defaulted loans with a historical return more than 10% for investors. And the average time for recovery has been around 5 months. So it means that some loans, some defaulted loans, we could recover in a couple of months, but some recoveries could take more than a year. So I think our risk team has during these years have received a lot of experience of doing it in the most efficient way. And myself and all the other partners and management, we are really trusting our risk team that they're finding the most efficient way to do it.
Yes, and I think the question was also what is the recovery the statistics. So the investors so far haven't had a principal capital loss. So it means that we have always recovered the principal amount and some part of the interest as well. The average is over 10%. If we take the overall funded loans of over 200 million euros, the total historical default amount is 10 million. So it's around 5%. And yes, so what I also wanted to say is that sometimes feels that some of the loans or the recoveries take more time, but every investor must consider that we are working in an environment that is set by the local laws. So there is not much in the case of when the loan is defaulted to us to decide or influence the processes. If there are courts or bailiffs or bankruptcy administrators involved, then it's the legal processes, and sometimes it takes time, and that's what we have to consider here.
Yes, let me jump in with the next question. Even though the intention of this webinar was not to cover one by one loans that are in debt, then nevertheless there has been one case that has received a bit more attention than others perhaps, and it is regarding one borrower and their loans which are related to one of EstateGuru's employees. Kaspar, can you elaborate on that a bit shortly as well?
Yes, this case has been pointed out several times in the last like 6 months, I think, and we have always been open and transparent about this case. So we have one employee who was hired after that, or the loans that are now late were issued before he was hired. So in that sense, there is no conflict of interest in that sense when issuing the loans, and as the loans are late, we have been presented a clear restructuring strategy and exit plan, and it has been followed. There have been some delays, but in the last month, several installments have been paid, and loans have been repaid and refinanced. Of course, there have been some setbacks, but we will strongly believe that this plan that has presented to us is realistic, and then we should see the results of loans being paid back or refinanced within few months. And then we as a management, all the company management is monitoring the situation closely. And yes, we believe that this will result the best recovery for the investors. And then yes, and what we also would like to emphasize is that our credit committee is separate, and we are not affected in any way of the decisions in issuing the loans or regarding debt management of the loans. And then so with anybody in the company and even the management, and so the credit committee is fully independent, and then our like standpoint is that in that case there is no conflict of interest, and then we strongly believe that within few months these cases will be solved.
Does EstateGuru as a company have the idea to at one point start buying defaulted loans?
So this is also the topic that has come up now, as we have some of the investors that we have, based on the service that we have made, some investors would like to see their money coming back right away, but the other investors are willing to wait. And if we have such kind of fund that buys the properties from the auction, we want to make the legal structure transparent and as open as possible to keep the investors' interest at mind. So if we would have investors who want to sell their loan or get out of the loan, they would have the possibility, and the investors who would like to earn from this potential default case and gain from the potential profit, they have the possibility. So yes, we are thinking of the best structure for that.
And when that happens, then of course all of the investors will be will be informed adequately and they have the opportunity to participate to some level. Perhaps last question currently to the risk team, as we would like to cover other topics as well. Can you elaborate on how useful is the personal guarantee that we acquire for most of our nodes?
So yeah, it is definitely useful. It's really hard to put the price tag on personal guarantee, and that's why we don't take it as a collateral with a value or like a specific value. So it depends highly on the person's financial situation and assets, and in that sense it can't be controlled throughout the loan period. So we see that it's like a disciplinary measure, that when we are in a default situation, we have a stronger position of negotiating, and the borrower has a higher motivation to work out the situation and what will result in a recovery. Yes, so in that sense, it's helpful.
Okay, perfect. Let's move further to the product development side. If we have any time later on, then we will come back to some of the questions that have been asked. But currently, let's look into product development. Since we are a tech and IT company to some extent, then a lot of the resources, a lot of effort has been placed into developing new functionalities for the platform, into improving the customer experience that they get with us. So Mihkel, perhaps let's speak a little bit about perhaps one of the most exciting functions that we have, which is the auto invest. What has been done in the near past? How have we evolved it, improved it, and what is planned for the future?
Yeah, so what I would like to emphasize is that like already now 90% of our core process is automated. So, and it's mainly at the moment focused on this investment side of products. So all the onboarding, investing, everything is already automated. So I would say we have the really good set of the standard or like main products what we're already offering. Investors, auto invest is one of these. So what we're doing with this feature is that we're constantly gathering the feedback of the users. Lately we sent out also a survey. So and we are constantly making now, I would say, smaller adjustments. And I think in upcoming weeks we will again put live a new version of the auto invest, meaning that there will be more choices for the investors to choose from. For example, we're adding the long asked country option to the auto invest feature, and again the usual user interface improvements.
And same question for the secondary market, which is one of the most recent functionality improvements on the platform, so to say.
Yeah, so yeah, secondary market was one of the latest features what we added. So the main focus there was to add this possibility for more liquidity. Even though our loans are already short term, the average length of the loans is around 10 months, but we saw that there's a need for even bigger liquidity for some cases. So we launched the secondary market. Now we have been doing some of small adjustments, again adding some filters, making it more easier. Lately the feedback has been that could it be somehow even more liquid? So we also decided to introduce this minus 10% discount option. But again, we always need to keep in mind that the main focus for second market is to provide the liquidity for the investors who want it. It's not going to be a trading platform, as this is also regulated differently, and we don't want to fall under that. So this is maybe the main answer why we have been doing like this, the secondary market.
Okay. Let's speak a little bit about Lemonway. This is something that our investors have heard about. Perhaps it's not fully clear to everybody what will be applied once EstateGuru tries to or decides to implement Lemonway. What will change for the end investor?
Yeah, why we decided to change the way we now keep the money. So how we do it now is we're following the segregated account principle, meaning that all our investor money is held in LHV Bank, and all our company money stays in Swedbank account. So every time we keep the money separately. But we saw that as we are expanding aggressively around Europe, and we already look into the regulation, what is coming up, we saw that we need to do it a little bit differently. And with this, Lemony was a perfect partner for this. They have been providing these services for over 200 companies, and also to many crowdfunding and marketplace companies. So what it allows actually to do is actually it increases the speed of the transactions, make it more smoother, both for deposit withdrawals, but it adds also something what is beneficial for the investors. So basically, when we implement the Lemonway, each of the investor will have the separate IBAN account, and this also you can look it as a escrow account, meaning that we can only transfer the money once the investor makes the basically pushes the button, and it goes to the separate wallets, separate accounts. So it will be really regulated, and the way that we keep the investors' money even more segregated as we do now. So yeah, it will be a big change for us.
But of course, it will be done in a very convenient manner for the end investor, and the change will be implemented very, very swiftly in that sense.
So, yeah, for the users, the only thing what will mainly change is a kind of the front-end experience that you see at one point, the new IBAN account, and we will, yeah, this is about separate communication about that, but there's a lot of back-end changing of the product for that.
Clear. More about product development. So Lemonway will be a huge project. Will the next huge project for EstateGuru be the mobile app?
Yes, we have received questions about mobile app, but I know some of platforms have done it already, but we still see that in our case, users are either using the AutoInvest to make their investments, or they want to look all investments themselves manually, pick the deals. So they log into the account and then make the investment choices. So we currently prioritize improving the mobile views of the platform rather than doing the mobile app. But parallel, if we look like the future developments, what we are focusing on, as I was already saying a little bit before, was that like 90% of our core processes are already automated, but we want actually most of the process being automated and digital. So we're now moving from the investor side also more into the borrower side. So there's a lot of things we can do there as well, starting from integrating different service providers to even further improve our credit scoring. So we have actually set up separate data team working on this product developments. So we could expect at one point that even more data points that we are taking into account when making the decisions. And of course, well, like times are changing also for the real estate lending. This is something what we see. It is becoming more cross-border. At least the demand from the borrower side is that should be cross-border. It should be as digitized as possible, and especially the times that we have now. So we see that the real estate lending can be digitized, and we had a really, last week we're also participating in a 100% fully digitized real estate transaction. So in Estonia there was introduced a law that notaries who set the securities can also do now the digital signing of the deals. So I think we're the first one to participate fully digital notary transaction. So basically from the beginning till end, everything digitalized. So yeah, there are a lot of exciting things coming up in this department. But there are also things what we can't go into real detail because it will give away a lot of business intelligence.
Yeah, but in overall, it is clear that the world is changing. We are receiving a lot of questions in the light of these changes about Baltic real estate markets. So perhaps quickly back to you, Kaspar. You can perhaps explain a little bit the results of our stress test. What have they shown and how can this model be applied in this situation?
Yeah, well, the stress test is a little bit separate subject, but regarding Baltic real estate markets, as I said before, I think it's too early to tell how big is the impact or what is the what would be the price change of the average prices or something like that. But regarding stress test, this is like economic model that our analyst team has put together. What it shows, I can show you this from my screen. Of course, it's a really long explanation how we came up, but because basically it's based on our loan portfolio, and it shows that with the good diversification, how the investor's portfolio be impacted from defaults and the price change of real estate prices or the collateral value, let's say. And there are several pre-assumptions for that. I won't go into details, but let's say one of them is that the average sales period is 9 months, which is quite realistic, and then it shows basically that if the investor's portfolio is well diversified, when would also considering the return of the loans and performance of the performing loans, when would the investor start losing money? And then we see that if the portfolio default rate would be 40 to 50%, and the price drop of the real estate market would be, or the collateral sales price would be minus 50 to 60%, we will start to see negative returns on the investment portfolio, meaning that if the portfolio is well diversified, some of the loans that are not performing, or even if we would in the future have a case of capital loss with the well diversified portfolio, it doesn't really change the investor's return. So the average return would be still close to or above 10%.
Yes, but the key word here is definitely a well-diversified portfolio. So that is kind of the essential aspect of applying the stress test results in general. But I think that this is a good place to draw the line for this section and continue with a wholly new topic, which is EstateGuru's A round and all of the financial aspects of the A round. Where do we want to go? What is our ambition? And perhaps one of the most intriguing questions going to Marek is that why the Seeders campaign during the situation that we're currently in?
Yes, actually, we have been planning to raise equity for quite some time now, and we started to talk to VCs in the beginning of the year, and we reached to quite concrete discussions and hot leads, so to say. But unfortunately, this COVID situation has also changed a lot in the VC world. And most of the VCs currently are not very open to talk about new investments, but they are concentrating more of protecting their current investments. So so that's why we decided to not wait when this situation is over, but proceed with crowdfunding platform Seedrs. And we made an investigation of what would be the best platform to launch the campaign, and we came up to the solution that Seedrs, which is the UK leading platform for raising equity for fintech companies, is the way to go. And they have done previously quite many campaigns for other lending platforms very successfully. Other very well-known fintech companies, and yeah, so it's the campaign is absolutely not related to our current situation or financial situation, but it's a long planned activity, and we really see now the benefit of having this kind of digital platforms also in the equity space. And yes, that was the reasoning behind there. And we still, as the equity raise is planned to be up to 5 million, and at Seedrs we are launching the campaign that is up to 2 million with a minimum target of 350,000. So we really hope it's going to be a successful campaign, and we already have received some feedback, and pre-registration is already open for our investors. So we're really optimistic that the campaign is going to be successful, and we hope to see you also at the Seedrs platform next week. Yes, so
yeah.
That's shortly.
And another reason why we chose to go with the Seedrs campaign is definitely also the fact that we are a member of the crowdfunding community and like strong believers of the business concept itself. But you spoke a little bit about the volumes that we are planning to raise. Can you elaborate on the valuation?
Yeah, the valuation that we have analyzed and looked at the other campaigns, and also regarding also analyzed where we stand at the moment of our business development and revenues and so on. We have come up to the valuation of slightly lower than 29 million, and we believe to be a fair value of EstateGuru.
Clear. After the round, can you elaborate where the gathered funds will be invested? What is EstateGuru's ambition in that sense, and what will be the let's say sectors of business that will be benefiting from that?
Yes, we have put together our growth plan and the allocation of funds strategy. The funds are going mainly to 3 areas, which are developing further our product. Mihkel already described the main targets. In addition, I would say that we also starting to concentrate more to institutional product, so that we believe that our growth plan of growing to 2 times our volumes need to include more institutional lending capital, which also at the same time would give more confidence to our retail investors, because institutional investors usually make very deep due diligence of the platform, of the processes, of the people, and we know it already by doing cooperation more than 2 years of one German bank, Warengold Bank, who has been our investor more than 2 years for now, and very happy and satisfied with the cooperation, and also we are very happy of having them on board. So and also we see a lot of loans that are bigger than 1 million or maybe bigger than 2 million that we could fund. Currently we have in the pipeline loans worth more than 40 million, which could actually be put to the platform, but they at the moment they're a little bit too big for our retail base. So yes, one area is to create interface for institutional investors, and also they have some certain demands for the product. So that's one area, and also it's connected to that area is also the capital markets team that needs to be put together, and also to create maybe some legal structures that these institutional investors feel more comfortable investing into, such as bonds or fund investment fund, and so this is the second area on top of the product. And the third area where the proceeds will be allocated is definitely entering the new markets. We currently have offices and we actively lending in Baltics and Finland. And the next markets what we are targeting is Germany, where we already have done the first loans. And also we see that UK is a very interesting market. It's a competitive market, but at the same time, it's the third biggest alternative finance market in Europe, and we definitely would like to be in the UK at one point. We actually have already license granted from the last year, peer-to-peer lending license in the UK, and we believe that this is the place to be. And at the same time, there are a lot of UK property owners who have properties outside of the UK, and building this cross-border model is also, I mean, UK is definitely the place to be building the cross-border lending business that we're doing. There are some other countries what we are investigating, but currently maybe it's a little bit too early to talk about it.
But let's briefly discuss also the financials of EstateGuru. How well is EstateGuru doing financially, and can the timing of this round be somehow associated with the COVID-19 situation?
So I will take this one. So what we did was actually already 2018 we reached actually profitability with our company by actually growing organically. So like Marek already mentioned, we have been growing almost twice from the time we started. Yes, every year it's getting more tougher to get there because volumes are getting bigger and bigger, but the profitability was there. So we decided actually that it was a good point to push for even more aggressive growth. For that, we partnered up with one of the leading VC funds for fintechs in Europe, Speed Invest. So we got from them additional equity to invest into our business. So this was something we did during the last year. So we heavily invested into the product development again. Same for the hiring additional key people to the team. So during the year we grew the team almost 2 times, and at the same time it was went to the preparation of the new markets. One of them, Finland, is already working, and like Marek said, new ones are already prepared. So obviously, this meant that last year will be in minus. We are now already finalized our annual report, but it's, as we have done already several years, we are using external auditors to go through our annual reports to add this extra level of trust for the investors. So now it's at S and Young table, and we hope to publish the latest annual report for the last year by the end of June. So yes, last year we ended in some minus, but what we benefited from this investment was that actually by the beginning of this year and the first quarter showed that we were able to grow our volumes to the level that we're now again profitable. First quarter ended up in profit around 60K or something like this. And we could continue going like this, growing organically. But we see now that this is a really good time to actually push more aggressively as the digital is one part, and alternative lending is growing, and we are the leaders already in this segment. So we really want to take the market, and that's why we see the opportunity of getting this additional equity into the company and use this money to make this aggressive growth. So maybe Marek wants to add something.
If I may add also, I have one remark. So regarding the current situation and the round, one comment is that we have prepared several months this round, and this due diligence of Seeders campaign takes several months. So it's really, we have planned this several months. But regarding the time, I think this is the best time for aggressive growth and taking on the new markets, because we have seen in the region that several big financial institutions and financial companies have founded in the last crisis in 2009. So like Mihkel said, that we have been, last years we have been really constrained, and we have on our growth due to, we have been really careful with our spending, but if I think that now is in risk-wise also, this is really good time to grow our business in different markets.
So this is definitely also one of the justifications to the question that we have received: why should the investors invest into EstateGuru as a company during these new and turbulent times? Perhaps Marek, you would like to add any other reasons why the investors should look into this opportunity, and perhaps also comment what is the expected return of investment on this investment?
Yeah, I mean, why now? This very often these turbulent times also create a lot of new opportunities, and weaker players maybe drop out of the market, and also the big players are like banks. They change their credit policies so that there are a lot of entrepreneurs and smaller businesses actually they lack of this fast and flexible funding. And if we do a great job in risk assessment and also you know, find the good deals, we believe that there are always good deals to be funded in every business environment. And that's our job, to find these deals and then bring them in front of our investors. And that's been our strategy from the day one. So it's opportunity and return of investment. We believe that we're growing the company hopefully to unicorn in the next 5-6 years. And the exit strategy, what we're seeing now is the IPO or some consolidation of some big player, but it's a little bit early to have the final exit strategy at the moment.
So at the moment, do you see the 2 times annual growth continuing also in the future?
Yes, that's the target, and that's our projection. Adding more products, bringing more institutional investors to the platform that would enable us to do more deals, to finance bigger deals. So there's definitely opportunity of the upside.
Clear. We have spoken a lot about the next target markets that EstateGuru will be addressing. Everybody here is aware that this is our ambition and that it has been so since the very beginning of EstateGuru's operations. How will the returns evolve in the future if EstateGuru takes on new larger markets? I mean returns for the investors.
I'd say that, of course, in some big mature markets, the returns could be somewhat lower, but it's also always the returns are related to the risk. So if we would finance a city center apartment in a big European city, probably the assets, the property is also more liquid in these places, but we still believe that the returns should be in the range from 7 to 13%, and I think investors wouldn't mind to diversify their investments with some London property or Berlin properties, which are earning them 7-8%, and maybe the average would still be around 10-11%.
Great. So perhaps to end this discussion about the round, do you have any closing remarks for the investors? Speak a little bit about the time frame. Again, just to remind everybody, what do they need to do to become an EstateGuru shareholder?
Yes, the time frame is that we are launching the campaign in Cedars in the private mode on Monday, and it means that EstateGuru investors can they receive the link where they could register at Cedars, and the public campaign, the PR and the full launch would be on the 4th of May. Am I right, Triin? Yeah, 4th of May.
Should be.
Yeah. So hopefully we gather already quite a lot during this private mode, and we would reach our maximum target once we are live in the public mode. So I can encourage everybody to share this message, and if you like the company and if you believe in our future, to participate in the round. And we ourselves believe that it's going to be it's a great thing what we do. We change the world. We make investments in property available for everybody, and all our EstateGuru investors are our brand ambassadors, and we continue to be transparent of what we do, and do our best to deliver the best quality investments to you.
Us as well. However, this is definitely a very interesting and very exciting topic for ourselves as well, and we have received a lot of questions about the company's financials, more detailed plans, etc. All of that will be published to everybody on Monday when the private mode gets launched. So throughout the entire process, we will be here either on Cedars or on EstateGuru. You can ask all of the questions that you have, and we are more than excited to help you out and get you on board. Perhaps since we are running out of time, there are a lot of questions that we haven't covered. However, one maybe a bit more intriguing question is that how much are EstateGuru's own employees actually benefiting from the services that we offer to the wider public? are you yourselves investing on the platform, and perhaps speak a little bit about what other employees of the company are doing as well? Marek, would you like to elaborate?
No, we have now 45 people employed and in EstateGuru, and I think we have already published quite many investor stories by our employees, and I guess most of our employees have their small investment account and participating also in investing in EstateGuru loans. So I think it's a good thing for us to see that our people are believing what we're doing, and instead of playing in a volatile stock market or trying to earn from the oil adventures, our people are believing of stable and secured investments. So
yes, if I might add, then absolutely majority of EstateGuru's employees are quite actively investing into our investment opportunities. However, there is one restriction that we have created for the employees, which is that they cannot use the secondary market feature. So this is definitely something that we have implemented to make sure that there is no conflict of interest of any sorts. However, investing into the loans, I think that gives an additional security to perhaps other investors as well, to know that the employees are actually also believing in the company, believing in its future, and the performance of the loans that we have. This is the time that we had set for ourselves. Do anybody have any closing remarks that you would like to share before we end this discussion here? Marek, you can go first.
No, I think I already said that I hope to see you all to be part of our equity round, and that you continue investing into our loans. And I thank from my side for your time that you spent with us this last hour.
Mihkel.
Yeah, I maybe want to emphasize that probably there were questions what we didn't manage. We really want to actually be transparent and then answer them later on. We're actually publishing a lot of different reviews how we're doing, and during this new campaign we will be also publishing more out. So if you want to hear more, check it out. Go to our website, you will learn more. But again, thank you for these questions what you have been providing us, and wish you good health, and that's it from my side.
Yes, stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Yes, so from my part, I saw that different questions about risk. I hope that with Triin we will have answers to all the questions, as many of the questions are quite specific, and we could spend a lot of time talking about each subject. So thank you, and I will see that all the questions would be answered regarding risk.
Absolutely. To end this discussion here, I promise that we will hope to get all of the answers live, for example, on our blog, to all of the questions that we did not manage to answer today. And we will try to do it by end of next week. We have some interesting times ahead, but this being transparent and speaking to our own customer base is definitely a priority for us. So we will take the time. Thank you everybody for being here. Likewise, I hope that you're all safe and securely at your homes, and you stay healthy, and speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.